Hi, everyone. Val with Dragonfly Crystals here for Sisters of the Mystical Tarot with my fabulous sisters, Marina of Heart Center Tarot and Shari, Voices from the Swamp. Aley will be out for this particular show, and she'll hopefully be back next week. But oh goodness, there's a lot of, I feel like we're at a casino.
No, my phone all of a sudden decided everybody's starting a show. So it's like all of these notifications.
Okay.
I forgot to mute the phone.
No. Well, it was entertaining. So I want to say hi to everyone who's here for stopping in. Silly, good to see you. And Janet, who's Bora Bora. Yep. And let's see, Garnet, good to see you. Acadian Proud, nice to see you. And as you know, we don't take questions from the chat, and you have to put your questions in advance of the show. And the questions can be entered anywhere from, I don't know, Saturday and Sunday all the way till noon Pacific time on Wednesday in anyone's chat. So, yeah. So this topic today, before we start on it, it is a topic of belonging, and we're going to really get into this to understand what belonging is all about. And it is something that is both a greater sense of belonging, that feeling of that oneness of all that is, that unity feeling, that you are all that is, you are everything, to the feeling that answering the question, do we really need other individuals around us to feel this sense of belonging? Yeah. From the Earth's perspective, how does the concept of belonging resonate with you? Has belonging enriched your life in any way? And if so, how? And what has your spiritual growth been like in the sense of belonging related to clubs, groups, families, friends, coworkers, etc.? It's not like you had to sign up to say, yeah, I joined this group. I'm just talking about that feeling of synergy where you get together with even a group of girlfriends or guy friends, whatever. And what are those greatest gifts of belonging that you have gotten? Because in the biggest sense of it, you already belong to the great one, divine source energy. So there are many perspectives of this and many layers to this. But in the middle of all that, when we're in those communities, you really have a lot going on. And you have a lot of healing going on, a lot of mirrors. So before we dive into that, I'm going to just ask Marina, what do you have going on your channel? And please like and subscribe to Heart Centered Tarot and Voices from the Swamp. Marina, what do you want people to know about what's coming up for you?
Well, what's coming up is on Saturday it is the 7th Shine Your Light event. So we start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the whole concept, the whole idea is to have like-minded people gather so that we can then send out prayers and set the intention that we are sending love, light, compassion, and unity to anyone, anywhere in the world who needs it.
Oh, that's
when we do that as a collective, it multiplies exponentially. So, we've seen some good things that have happened over the last couple months. And I think that is that positive intention that we are sending out. So, not only am I inviting each and every one of you to come to the show? But we're also going to ask you to participate. And the way that you participate is starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to ask you to turn on your porch lights, put a lamp in the window, do it, put one of those little battery operated candles or something like that, so that you will then shine your light. And as we reach 7 p.m. through the different time zones, we repeat the process so that when we're done and after 7 p.m. in the Mountain Standard Time Zone, the vision that I have in front of me is that all those time zones are just lit up.
I love that. I love that. That's a beautiful wave of energy.
Yes. So that's what's happening on Saturday. I will generally post either Saturday or Sunday on YouTube in the post section what my schedule is like for the week, so that you can go through it and you could see what channels I'm on, who's coming on my channel, what we're doing, what we're talking about, and take it from there. And yes, please do like, share, and subscribe. Before I came on, I was sitting at 5,499. I really want to reach 5,500 by the time we're done.
Absolutely.
Absolutely do that. And for those of you, if you haven't checked your subscriptions recently, not only for my channel, but for Shari's and Val's as well, double check. Because every once in a while, YouTube comes in and they do whatever it is that they do behind the scenes, and people are just unsubscribed. Regardless of how active you might be on the channel, Shari was unsubscribed from my channel, and she's one of my moderators.
Yeah, so it can happen, folks.
And a member
about it,
and a member of the channel.
And just last week, several of us were talking about it, and I realized like a day later, I hadn't heard any notifications from one particular channel. I was like, well, that's odd. I used to get notified all the time. And I went in and started looking. I was unsubscribed from 5 different channels.
Oh, there you go.
That I watch on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah,
I was like,
something,
And YouTube says, oh, we don't have anything to do with that. It's like, well, your algorithm does.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you, Sarkesh. It's very nice of you.
Yeah, I was just gonna put this up. Yeah, absolutely. And Marina's hair does look beautiful down. Absolutely stunning. So
thank you. Don't make me blush.
I already had that keyed up to.
Oh yeah.
So is there anything else you want anyone to know?
No, actually that's kind of the big thing for this week. Of course, we've got Messages for Light Workers on Val's show tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then on Shari's channel tomorrow is Golden Girls. Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend, but Shari and Cleo are going to do a fabulous job.
Yay.
We'll keep y'all in stitches.
Absolutely.
Marina.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Marina. And Shari, what have you got coming up on your channel that you want people to know about?
Well, Golden Girls tomorrow night I'll be hosting, so it'll be on my channel. And then I've got a recorded Zoom show that I'm doing with Nath on Saturday, Nath of the Third Wish. We meet together twice a month, once on my channel for a live stream and then on his channel for a recorded. We usually do a deep dive in a particular topic or something. And of course, the slumber party every Saturday night at 10 o'clock. Plus, I was asked to do an interview with a channel called Haunting Live. And they're about all things paranormal. And so I'll be doing that Saturday afternoon, and then it'll drop, I think, like the following week on their next show that they do. And let's see, I've got Mastering Mental Wellness coming up on Sunday. We're going to be talking about coping skills. And then Monday for Memorial Day, I get the day off. Yay. And I'll be Draining the Swamp with Mel and Arthur. And then Monday afternoon, Linda G and I are going to do a recorded show, Memorial Day show. So, and I'll be a guest on Irish Granny Ellen. I don't know what we're talking about, but there you go. And just the normal regular stuff,
Sounds
sisters,
fantastic.
Golden Girls, da 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 da. So
That sounds
and doing a lot of backstage work this week for Arthur. He had lined himself up with several shows and was readjusting his schedule to fit my schedule so I could show up to help him.
Nice.
That sounds phenomenal. And for me, I am going to be on with Sun Psychic Jean on the May 25th. That's a Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. And of course, that's always about a conversation regarding awakening and the things that we can look at and talk about and identify within our own lives that can help us flow better, because we're all going, what is this new thing happening? Yeah. Then on the next day, on the 26th, I have the Haunting Live interview as well, just like Shari.
Cool.
And mine is in June.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
Community lineup. We'll be doing Haunting Live.
Yes.
And that'll open us up to a whole new batch of people that don't watch psychic stuff as much. They're more into the other paranormal. So that's a good crossover.
It's a good crossover. So be sure to check out Haunting Live and subscribe to that, so that you can catch all of our interviews. And I'm sure there'll be more in our community.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
I think Arthur was like the first, one of the first from our community. So that's at 1 p.m. Pacific time on Monday, the 26th. Then pretty much, just the usual shows after that, the Sisters and Messages for Lightworkers. And don't forget, all the classes are available now on my channel. Marina has classes as well. So you can go to Marina's heartcenteredtarot.com to sign up for classes. You can go to dragonflycrystals. There you go.
There you go.
And you can go to
Shades of Gerald.
Yes. Yeah. Overachiever.
Don't forget, you can book readings with Shari, Voices from the Swamp, and Marina of Heart Center Tarot, and myself. You can sign up for my classes at dragonflycrystals.store. I also want to say, besides the meditation, which is actually on Saturday, you can still sign up for that, and you will learn how to channel, because you channel your guides and angels. But there's also channeling class, manifesting class, psychic mediumship, learning how to read the Akashic records. All those classes are there. And there's one big highlight coming up, which is Arthur and Val are getting together to do another Zoom. Yay. And this Zoom is going to be on the 14th, which is a Saturday, at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. This is where you will have the 10 minutes of Arthur and Val channeling for you, solely for you, 10 straight minutes dedicated to you, and only 10 participants. We still have a few spaces for you to sign up, and you can do that at dragonflycrystals.store. It is a very mystical place when we get together and channel, and all this information comes out that we're just channeling it from your guides and angels. It's a special energy when we are there together in Zoom. channeling this. This is really important for you to know. It isn't just your average Zoom. You will really feel that energy, that healing energy. So if you feel inclined, sign up for that. And so now we're going to talk about belonging. And we're going to talk about how that, what is belonging all about, and what does that do for you, and what are the gifts from it, and challenges, and anything else about that. And it doesn't, as I said, earlier, it's not just about belonging to a club or joining a this or that. You don't have to have signed up for something. It is that synergy, that community, that feeling, wow, I think I found my sweet spot. But even with that, there are mirrors and lessons and things that might come up for you occasionally to look at. And we're going to go to Marina first and ask Marina, what are your thoughts on this?
You know, I did. I was reading your questions earlier today and really kind of contemplating them and thinking about it. I think belonging, in one sense, is really important, or the feeling of belonging, because it is almost a feeling of a feeling of acceptance, where and a feeling of no judgment. So when you find your tribe or your group, such as like the folks who join us for when we do these shows, right? We are very much like-minded individuals. And it does give you that sense of belonging, that you're not alone, that there is someone out there who understands that, that feeling of woo-woo, right? Where you're, when you say to someone who understands, oh, I just got the body shivers. And they know what you're talking about. Exactly. They're not looking at you like, oh, do you have a fever? Do you have a cold? What's wrong?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it is, yes, Amanda, it's a feeling, feeling at home, right? Where you're just in with your, with your group. And I think that sense of belonging, it does enrich your life.
Yeah.
Because it does confirm that, even while we take individual journeys on our life path in this particular incarnation, that, yeah, we are part of the one big I am. Right? It's just, and it's also a sense of recognition too. When you find your tribe, it's like, yes, I remember. I remember. So I think one of the things that you had was, what are some of the greatest gifts to belonging?
Yeah.
I think it is that acceptance. It is that unconditional acceptance, and it frees up a lot of your emotion when you don't have to explain things to other people, right? Where you can just kind of, be who you are. We accept each other as we are, where we are. It doesn't necessarily mean that, we all think the same way. We can have different thoughts and different opinions. It's just a matter of how we handle them, right? Yeah, when you have that sense of belonging, you don't feel, if someone was to question something that you did, you don't feel like you're being attacked.
Yeah.
You can say, oh, okay, let me explain that.
Yeah, right? You're safe to be who you are and show up like you are, right? Yeah. That's a pretty powerful gift.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's important. it's important to feel like you belong somewhere.
It kind of is. Unless you're the monk in the monastery
Yes.
who's already vibrating so high, they're in the oneness, which is and how many of us are there? Well, that's why we're in these communities, and we're sharing everything, and you share everything with us, and that's the way it works, back and forth.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's not only a sense of that that belonging to something, but it also gives you a sense of peace and calmness, so that if I don't have communion with my community,
Mhm.
okay, if for some reason, I'm not on here with everyone, and you don't see me for a week or two, whatever, it doesn't mean that we're disconnected, because I
Yeah.
think we're always connected. So
Yeah.
we can, you don't have that sense of panic that, oh, I haven't heard from my friend in 48 hours. What's going on? Did I do something wrong? No. Yeah, it's just
Exactly.
acceptance. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's powerful. And that's a powerful gift to give yourself, to be
Mhm.
in a group. It's not like you have to join and push a button.
Yeah.
You
No.
just have to show up when you want, and
Yep.
you're already in the
Yep.
arms of people that appreciate you and care about you and love you just that fast,
Exactly.
that easy. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's pretty powerful in itself.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's a nurturing thing to give yourself. So,
Absolutely.
so Shari, what wisdom do you have for us on belonging?
The first thing I thought of when I started trying to put together my thoughts earlier today
Mhm.
on how to express this was, and Spirit brought it to me in the quote. It's you can be in a room full of people and
Mhm.
still be very lonely,
Mhm.
and you can be in a room by yourself and be alone, but you're not lonely.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think it's that assurance that if you need somebody to talk to, if something happened, like when my son had his heart attack,
Mhm.
or if there's something good that happens, oh, my daughter got engaged, something like that, that it's just a matter of a few taps on the phone or on the keyboard, and boom, you've got people that are gonna either be right there with you to comfort you or right there with you to celebrate with you.
Yeah.
Either way, and they're not gonna hold that interruption against you like some people will.
Yep.
I mean, I've belonged to groups in the past, supposedly religious groups that was, you still had to walk a fine line and stay within certain parameters, and you couldn't go outside that box, or else you were made to feel like you didn't belong anymore.
Yep.
And that's a horrible feeling, because people, when somebody's joining a church or a religion or a prayer group or whatever it is, the whole point is because they need that connection. Marina finally said it towards the end there. We're all one tribe.
Mhm.
We may be different clans and live in different areas and do different things, but we're still all one tribe. And we're still, I can do a 10-minute video, something that's just on my heart or whatever, and post it. And it's really encouraging to me to have, a handful of people that respond back. Oh, wow, I was just dealing with that this morning, or I was going through that yesterday. And
Mhm.
thank you so much for touching on this topic. It was just because Spirit led me to do a certain
Mhm.
thing, and you do it. And then it's to see the people that reach back out and are like, that's what I needed to hear today. Or,
Yep.
that's just I didn't know what to do to deal with this, and you said something that just made it all click. And that's not to glorify us or anything, because it's not us that does it. That's spirit that does that,
Exactly.
And
And we all do it. And people in the chat do it for other people in the chat.
all
We
the time. I
all
sit
the
and
time.
watch sometimes, watch the chat, and it's just the love and the encouragement that everybody gives everybody. When I first fell into this community, I was probably in it for good 4 or 5 months before I ever even chatted, because I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that everybody was so supportive of everybody else and encouraging, whether if it was whoever was on air or if it was just somebody yakking in the chat. It was like I kept waiting for the claws to come out.
Yes.
It's like, okay, when are these people going to start getting catty with each other? And it just never happened.
And in
as I
fact, if
got
you
to
see people getting catty or whatever, they aren't people in our community. And the people in our community will go, hey, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. Fine, there's the door. Don't let it hit you with the good Lord split you. But but it's just that it was the encouragement of seeing how no matter what walk of life they were from, what part of the globe they were from, because we're not talking about just one state or one country, we're talking global here.
Yeah.
And people reaching across and saying, oh, I'm dealing with that too, or I've dealt with that in the past, or this helped me, maybe to help you. And it was a real eye opener for me that people could actually care this much. And I'd see it just grow and grow and grow as the community has grown, and more people have reached out and stepped out to become readers of their own, or for whatever gift it is that they have. I mean, some of y'all do the Akashic readings, and some do this and some do that. And it's like nobody has to nobody has to do it exactly the same way Val does it.
No.
Or exactly the same way Shari does it, or that Marina does it. They can just do their own thing.
Exactly.
And there are going to be people that hear their voice when they don't hear our voice.
Exactly. Well, that's is to do that. Everybody is allowed to do their thing.
Exactly. I mean, and I've had people over the past few years say, well, I thought I'd do it in a channel, but there's already so many readers on there. And I'm like, yeah, but your voice might be the only voice someone out there hears. They don't hear our voice, or we just don't resonate with them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But you go on and it's going to make that connection. So even if it's just that one person ever, at least you reach that one person.
Exactly.
And that's all that matters. So it's encouraging. I can't tell y'all how, talking about the gifts of it, the support and the love and the encouragement, and even sometimes the constructive criticism from those in the chat, from other readers, that are just trying to help you be better, or just to be there and let you know, I got your back. Don't worry about it. We're right here. Is a level of belonging that most people search for their whole life and never achieve. And I think it's because they buy into false belonging. You have to dress a certain way, you have to talk a certain way, you have to live in a certain area, or drive a certain car, or whatever.
Shari, good point. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's the fact that it's unconditional, as y'all were both saying.
I love that you brought up a way to show conditional belonging, and what the difference is when you can be in a community to be free to do your own thing the way you do it, and everybody's applauding and clapping for you. And when you're in another kind of environment where you have these rules to follow, and if you don't adhere, there's judgment or whispers, or Yeah.
shunning, you know.
Shunning. Yeah.
Yeah.
A cost involved, whether it's spiritual, physical, emotional, to not towing the line, not going along with what someone else has decided is the way that things should be done in this particular organization or group or whatever. So
it has to be done this way and this way
Yes.
only, or it's not
And-
true, you know, or it's not forgivable, or it's not acceptable. And it's like, no, that's not how spirit works, you know. Spirit
And in
accepts
fact,
everybody.
yeah, exactly. And when you embrace your own value, you will come to a community like this type of community that embraces you for your uniqueness and the beautiful resonance that you are.
Exactly. You don't, you know, you don't have to worry about are you wearing designer clothes on air? Is your makeup right? Or, you know, who cares?
Who cares?
I mean, God knows I've gone on enough times with no makeup on my face.
I
And
mean,
it's like, it's a scary thing to look at, but it's just, that's just the
but
way
I
it
love
happened
it
that
that
day,
you
you know.
can do this in your,
Right.
you know, you can do it in your pajamas. I mean, it's literally, you know, maybe you brush your hair, maybe you don't, but it doesn't matter. You can still get on here and you can still have that beautiful energy going back and forth between everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the value is in the message. The value isn't in the, not necessarily the presentation.
Yes.
In terms of what you see.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, we didn't spend
many a morning when I've sat out there with my phone and spirit has just spoke to me about something, and my hair is going all different directions. I have no makeup on. I'm in my pajamas, drinking my first cup of coffee, and something just says,
it's not like we paid a marketing.
Say,
we didn't pay a marketing company to polish us up and put us out there with a professional image. We're just our authentic selves.
Yeah.
And you all are here with us. So, I mean, what's better than that?
You accept us warts and all.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing thing.
It is an amazing thing. So I love that. I love everything you said, Shari. Really beautiful points to be made. And when we're talking about belonging, why belonging matters to awakening, to your awakening process. Belonging is the soul's remembrance. And on a soul level, we already belong, as I mentioned earlier, and Marina mentioned too. And Shari, to source, to the cosmos, to the collective consciousness, awakening is not about gaining something new, but remembering what is already true. And when we feel a genuine sense of belonging and community, nature, or spirit, it stirs this remembrance, gently reuniting us with the knowing that separation is an illusion. And it also opens the heart. And so opening that heart to that frequency of love, that flow, that is the gateway to higher consciousness. That is another thing that's happening. And it also dissolves that wound of separation. So we all have that beginning wound of separation from the source when we come into the body. Then it's separation from your parents, and it's separate, you know, and it's endless, but it's that original wound because we feel separate from source when we come in. Maybe the kids nowadays don't. They seem to be fully conscious. But that one of the deepest core wounds in human experience is the illusion that we are separate from others and divine source and from ourselves. The experience of belonging directly addresses and heals this wound. When we feel seen, loved, accepted, and valued, this is everything we just talked about. We stop striving to earn worthiness and begin being our true essence. And if this community does anything for us, it is letting us value our uniqueness, what we bring individually, that is us, our essence. and nobody is doing anything but accepting you in and saying, that was fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that part of yourself.
It's like walking into a class.
Yeah.
And the first day of class, the teacher says, everyone has 100.
Yes.
That's your grade. Now, whether if you keep 100 or not, that's up to you and your input.
Yes.
But then that puts it on the student that if I want to keep that 100, if I want to, stay in that top range, then I have to make an effort. I'm not struggling trying to catch up with everybody to achieve that 100. We all started at the same level.
Yeah.
Now it's my job to keep myself there. And it's hopefully the teacher is there to rate and watch the progress of each person individually to keep that 100, because Tommy may have a different level of how he has to keep that 100, whereas Sue, everything's already been given to her, so it's easy, whereas he's struggling, she's not. But there may be other things where it's reversed, and it's knowing that spirit, once we accept spirit, to know that we've all been given that gold star, we've all been given that 100.
Mhm.
It's like it's yours to keep for as long as you want it. You don't have to earn it.
Yeah.
You just have to accept it.
Yeah. I love that.
That's it.
Yeah, I love that.
Totally.
And this belonging matters to awakening because it grounds awakening into daily life. So it's not just a mystical experience, it's embodied transformation. So it's us being it. So when
Right.
we feel a sense of belonging on the earth, our community, or a spiritual path, we anchor our awakening into form. It helps us integrate the light into the physical and express our gifts in service to others. So we're kind of walking the walk,
Yes.
talking the talk, but walking the walk. Everyone here in this community, everyone, through your communication, through your actions, all of us together. And finally, it mirrors the oneness within. So true belonging isn't about conforming. It's about being radically yourself. Just what we talked about, your uniqueness, and being embraced as such. Just as we said, this community embraces you just as you show up, exactly as you are. When others receive you in your authenticity, it affirms your connection to the whole. That external mirroring strengthens the internal knowing, I am that. I am part of all. So when Shari talked about authentic belonging, it can't be the one that has rules and you aren't accepted if you don't show up this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. That's not your authentic self showing up then. You've had to contort yourself to morph yourself to show up to be accepted. So
Yeah, and that's not genuine. That's not who you are.
whether that's in a partnership with another person or however that shows up in your life, yeah, that's not doing yourself justice.
No.
Mm-mm.
So
Yeah.
And there are 7 pathways for non-group joiners. That would be me. I'm not a group joiner. And this isn't a group you join. You just show up when you want. That's what's beautiful about it, right?
Yeah.
So nobody takes attendance at the beginning.
Nobody takes attendance. Where's your ticket? No.
Yes. Yeah.
It's free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's free. So the 7 pathways that non-joiners can genuinely experience the feeling of belonging, just for those who are, want something extra. Belonging to nature, one of the purest forms of belonging comes from communication with earth, sitting underneath a tree, walking barefoot, watching clouds move, and watching water ripple, and letting yourself belong to the moment as a living part of this earth. I am not outside nature. I am nature reminding itself. So when you're out there in nature, stop and pause in that moment and notice these things and feel that stillness within you. And that's that belonging to nature. And then there's belonging to your soul. Spiritual awakening deepens the realization that you belong to yourself. You are not lost, broken, or in need of fixing. The more you tune into your soul's voice, the more anchored you become in your external belonging. Internal, eternal belonging, not external, eternal belonging. So the more you tune into your soul's voice, the more anchored you become in your eternal belonging, not to others' expectations, but to your own worth. I belong to my soul's light. I belong to the divine within me. And then third is belonging to silence and presence. There's a profound intimacy available in silence. Stillness becomes a space of reunion with your essence, source, and the field of love that surrounds all things. Sitting in meditation or simply being present with your breath can restore a sense of connection and peace that group interaction might not. So, belonging through creative expression, writing, painting, music, dance, gardening. Any soul-aligned creation connects you to the flow of the universe. This kind of self-expression is not about performance, but resonance. Through creating, you join the sacred rhythm of existence. You become part of the creative breath of life. And what did they mean about performance? This kind of self-expression is not about performance, but resonance. They mean that you aren't sitting there going, oh, I've got to paint this painting nice and I'm going to sell it at the blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be, no, you let that light flow in and you just think of something radiant and beautiful and you start painting. That is what we're talking about, that flow from the universe. And 6, belonging and connection with one or few. Some souls resonate more with deep one-on-one or small soulful connections. You don't need to join anything. Just allow yourself to be seen and received by one person who gets you. That can open the heart just as fully as a group can. And 7, the last one, belonging in service or purpose. When you live your purpose, even quietly, you align with something greater than yourself, whether that's helping someone, sharing your insights, or creating beauty in your own way. You become a conduit for a divine flow. Purpose is one of the most profound ways to feel your belonging in the human journey. And belonging is not about fitting in. It is about coming home to yourself in the sacredness of life. It's about allowing the universe to whisper, you are known, you are loved, you are part of all. So we talk about this today because sometimes we don't actually understand or think about belonging and what that all entails. What are the gifts from it? What are things that we learn from belonging? And what are the different ways to belong, and belonging to yourself, to the divine source, to the oneness, the greatest measure of that light that you can have is that connection to all that is. And so it was nice to touch on that energy and be able to see that our community is a great place to thrive. Thrive in this light as an authentic expression of yourself. And I think Marina and Shari, you both shared it beautifully. So I hope all of you resonated with that.
She paid us to say that. Not really. And I had to throw it in there.
Yeah, it just needed saying.
So anyway, yeah.
But
Marina,
that right
One of
there,
the other
I
things,
said something like that that was just meant as a just a joke, something to lighten up everybody, giggle. But I have seen people that have done that and watched those it was said to take it completely wrong and get like all bent out of shape about it. And that's because they're not truly belonging to one another in that sense. That there are walls, there are parameters that
the
they're not allowed to
separation,
cross.
separation and competitiveness,
Yeah,
though the competitiveness and the judging of someone against yourself is separation in its highest form,
yeah,
which you do not want, folks. You do not want that
exactly.
kind of ego driven separation that is an illusion because you're in the ego. If you're going to those places, you want to clap for everyone in this community. You want to be so thankful that everyone is getting recognized or has their time to speak their truth, because this is another voice of energy going out there for the planet, for humanity, uplifting us all. So who wouldn't clap for that and want more? Of course we all would. And so, yeah, not embracing everyone unconditionally with that universal love, that acceptance, that highest form, that agape love. This is the highest form of acceptance of everything and everyone and your own self. So I hope all of this resonates for you all. And
Well, it's like, people join an organized religion because they're looking for that acceptance and that
yeah,
belonging. To join and then discover, well, you have to walk, talk, eat, think, clothe yourself, sleep, dream, whatever. Everything has to be within certain parameters. And if you step outside that line, then you're no longer a part of the group. And it's like, well, that's not unconditional love.
I,
At least it's not in my book. But
I really love that you brought that up, Shari, because I have found as I go forward in my life, I can't join anything because I can't stand rules. I can't stand anyone telling me how I have to conform to X, Y, and Z. I'm too open to try and put myself back in a box, and I feel that restriction. And you just, once you're out of the box, you can't go back in. You don't. It doesn't fit back. It doesn't.
yeah,
yeah. It's like trying to
no,
put the toothpaste back in the tube.
in the tube. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Once you open Pandora's box, it's out. That's
It's
it.
out.
Done deal.
It's out.
So, but then it's to try to contort, like you were saying, contorting yourself
Yes.
to fit into this little slender parameter. You have to walk this line or you're not a part of us. Well, why would you want to be a part of that?
Exactly.
A lot of people would say yes to that because they don't understand what unconditional acceptance and love is.
Or how important authenticity of their true self is.
Exactly.
Showing up and being seen. Showing up and being seen as your authentic self is the biggest balm and salve you could have. I mean, there is nothing like being
Absolutely.
seen. Yeah. So
yeah. Be yourself. You're no better than anyone else.
Mhm.
You're no worse than anyone else. You are absolutely perfect in the way that you show up. It may not, when I think one of the things when it comes to that sense of belonging, that is, don't compare yourself to someone else. There is no comparison. You are unique in the way that you present. And that is absolutely perfect. So, don't ever feel like you need to explain yourself or, to present yourself in a way that is not authentic.
Yeah.
And knowing that because we accept everyone where they are and how they are, there is no judgment with that.
Right.
There is, yeah, you show up being who you are, and you never know who you're going to deal with that is going to recognize that you are unique.
Yeah.
You're not broken.
And you're not showing up for them. You're showing up for yourself. And those who
Right.
resonate with you will come and recognize you and see you. And that's the way it works.
My
Because-
mom used to say we all put our pants on one leg at a time, just like
Yeah.
everybody else.
Just like
My
everyone-
grandmother used to say, if all your friends jump off the bridge, are you going to jump too?
Yeah, exactly.
Now that's coming at the same idiom
Yeah.
from two different sides, but they
Yes.
were both making the point of be your own individual
Yeah.
self.
Yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
Honor
Yeah.
yourself. Honor who you are,
Mhm.
and take pleasure in the fact that you are not like everyone else.
Exactly.
Right? It's like, yes, Amanda Carroll, according to Oscar Wilde, be yourself because everyone else is taken.
Yeah, I love that.
that's great. Yeah.
That was great. That's perfect. Absolutely.
That's the quote I was trying to think of. I was getting bits and pieces and I couldn't pull it together. So thank you, Amanda. You put the words in my mouth.
And it's really true.
It's like being a teenager and saying, no, I'm not like everyone else. I'm different. And you can tell I'm different because I dress like everyone else. I talk like everyone else. I do the same thing that everyone else. So that's what makes me unique. So, yeah.
And that's what most people get in an organized religion. I mean, not to knock organized religions, but just saying, they're looking for that belonging, and what they're finding instead is dogma.
Yeah.
They're not finding unconditional love. Now, that's not to say that there aren't people within that group that show that unconditional love and acceptance.
That is absolutely true. And there's some people who say their person who leads the flock doesn't care if you X, Y, Z and blah, blah. But those are unique. So you have unique individuals who kind of do their own thing. But so all of that is true. All of that is true. And, we all have to follow our path as uniquely as we can and authentically as we can for our own souls embracing, for that our own feeling of sweet spot that we're doing it. We're on the path that we are meant to walk down. And not everyone is going to have the same path. So, knowing that and always knowing that it feels really good to be seen in your authentic light.
Mhm.
You might try being as authentic as you can. And I know some of you may have a few things that you don't let other people see about yourself. Give yourself a break. You have a crappy day. Just tell everyone I'm crabby.
Yeah.
Stay away.
Put a swear jar in your house. If you're having a bad day, rant and stuff the money in the swear jar. Or have a safe word. If you walk in and say purple bubble gum, everybody knows don't mess with her.
Yeah, exactly.
She's in a mood,
just be your true self and don't mask it up. And you'll get over these things you go through. It's life. We all
Yes.
we're not going to say we are perfect beings, but as humans. But anyway, I'm glad that all of you were here to be on this journey with us today. And I feel
Well,
like
we've already been almost an hour.
it's
See,
almost
it seems
an
like
hour.
we just started.
I know.
Yeah.
And Mary Starshine, I like that. When I need someone to tell me what to believe, I'll let you know. But
Yeah,
don't hold your breath waiting.
Exactly, right? Mary Starshine's coming up with some good things today. And so is
Absolutely.
Amanda Carroll.
Yeah.
So you know, it is really true. Being true to yourself is the sweetest thing in the world. And that's showing yourself the most love and appreciation you can. And for those not even caring about other people's opinions of yourself
Mhm.
because it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Only your opinion of you, it shouldn't even be an opinion. It should be a knowing of who you really are. That remembrance of that you're divine source. So,
Yep.
you know, with all of that said, we're sending you tremendous love and thank you for being with us today on Sisters of the Mystical Tarot. And let's send Aley lots of light, her and her family.
Absolutely.
Her brother-in-law passed the other day. And so let's wish her and her family peace and tranquility.
Yes.
And so with that, you know, feeling the love. Yeah, Amanda Carroll. Absolutely. So with that having been said, we'll say good night to you all. And it'll be on whose channel? Sherry?
Think is
No,
Allie
it's
next?
No,
supposed to
Aley?
be on Allie's
It's
channel.
Aley, but it might not.
It might not be. So you know what? Yeah,
We'll
check
let you know.
back.
Check back.
Well, yeah.
We'll post it, y'all. Just check. Yeah.
Okay, everyone.
Exactly.
We're going to say good night. Love you guys.
Thank you.
And like and subscribe. Marina's Heart Center Tarot and Sherry's Voices from the Swamp and Val's Dragonfly Crystals. Love you guys. Mwah. See you later. Bye-bye.